Okay, it's good afternoon, everybody. And I'm Bob Petroselli, the Vice Chair of the Library Building Committee. I'm filling in for Maureen Amiot, who is away at a state library meeting. So I'd like to call the meeting to order. And before we start, I'd like to read the disclaimer at the beginning that no in-person attendance of members of the public will be permitted, but every effort or opportunity will be made to ensure that the public can adequately access the proceedings in real time via technological means. If we are unable to do so, for reasons of economic hardship or despite best efforts, we will post an audio or video recording of the playlist on YouTube for the Library Building Committee. So, first on the agenda is the open part of the meeting, and we have an opportunity for the public, anyone from the public, to speak. And I believe we have Brett Borgland from Westborough on the call today. So, Brett, we'll listen. And you're invited to stay and listen to the proceedings. But you've got 3 minutes if you'd like to say what you need to say to the committee. And we're interested in hearing what you have to say. So welcome, Brett.
Thank you, and good afternoon, everyone. I was tasked by the Board of Trustees from the Congregational Church to reach out to you folks to see if there's any interest in fixing the property line between the Congregational Church and the library. And the only reason I bring this up, obviously, the front lawn is dug up. The tree that we allowed you folks to cut down, the stump is still there. I'm assuming there's going to be some work to fix all that area up. I'm interested in seeing from the Congregational Church side if we would pull the property line back to the property line, so to speak, if there's any interest in that. And the other reason too is, just so you'll know, I called as part of my duties with the trustees, the DPW, about our apron to the driveway and the way it lines up with West Main Street has never been quite right. And we've always had to call the DPW to come in and put patch, tar every year. And I said, is there any way we could get this apron fixed as part of not as part of your project, but as a town problem? And Chris Millar from the DPW went and looked at it, called me back 2 days later and says, we will take care of that. And then I found out recently, talking with Derek, that Derek has spoken to the GC of the library and that they have agreed to do the apron work. I'm not sure if you folks are aware of that or not, but that's something that I found out just last week. So looking at everything and looking at the way the property line is, we're just interested in possibly just trying to straighten this out once and for all. And this seems like the perfect opportunity to take advantage of that situation.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I'm not sure if anyone at this point wants to respond, but I believe there's probably a library trustees meeting next week, and there's always a library building committee meeting, in fact, once a month, that we can bring your concerns forward and discuss that at that point.
Okay.
But thank you. That's a good point. I'm not sure if
I had a question, I guess.
Sure.
Hi, Brett. It's Walter. I don't understand what you just said about can you explain a little more simply the property line or something?
I'm not
I don't
sure
know what.
I don't know if Kate shared the drawing that I sent showing the discrepancy where the
Okay.
property line is currently been legally done and where we actually are. At the very
okay, that's the background I'm missing. Okay, that makes sense.
Okay, I apologize.
No,
I did share that with Kate. I didn't know if she shared that with the team or not. But at the very end of the driveway where it goes out to Main Street, there's a portion of what I'll call the library lawn, Fern Emsey's memorial tree, and that are on actually our property. And I thought this would be the appropriate time to, I'm not trying to add to the project. I'm not trying to increase the cost, but knowing how it looks down in the front now, it might be the opportunity to take this bite at the apple and straighten this property line issue out that's existed for eons. That's
Sure.
all we're saying.
Okay.
And to be quite frankly, the trustees are even envisioning if we take the exact curbing that's there now, the curbing is called granite curbing, and just pull that back to the property line, that we are willing to pave that area. And I'm not an expert in doing drawings or anything, but there's quite a few of us that feel that we could squeeze out between 2 and 3 parallel parking spots right there. And we'd like to make those handicap, because I'm not sure if you folks are aware that you have people that come to the library on a weekly basis with the folks in a handicap van, and they do park in our parking lot. They unload and have to wheel all the way around. Well, we looked at that and said, well, maybe this is the opportunity we could take and get this done. I know it's probably a lot of hurdles to probably have to go through. We probably have to go before the Board of Selectmen, because obviously we're talking about paving some more impervious, pavement and increasing the parking. I just don't know. But we thought we would try to do this because obviously the church just celebrated its 300th. And to me, it makes sense to just straighten this property line out and make it contiguous to both properties.
Oh, thank you. I see Mike Williams has your hand up. Would you like to say something, Mike?
Yes, just to help the committee, I could just show my screen here and just give you a sense of the area that we're talking about.
Okay.
Okay. There we go. So here's the library here, West Main Street down at the bottom. This area I've shaded in red is that area in question. I'll zoom in here. This sort of dashed line is the property line. And just below this red line is the granite curb. So this area in red would be the affected area.
Okay. Well, thanks for clarifying that on the drawing there, Mike.
Sure. You're welcome.
Well, we've had a great working relationship with the Congregational Church, and I think
absolutely, and we don't want that changed.
Hopefully, we're good neighbors. You're a great neighbor, so we'd like to keep that relationship. And
absolutely.
I think this is probably something that we can bring to the trustees of the library, or we have another full library committee meeting this afternoon at 3. Well, this is it here. We can discuss possibly. But what we'll do, Brett, is take your concerns and your suggestions, and we can follow up with that.
Sure. No, that's all we're asking. And I know that you're trying to get this project completed, but like I said, it seemed like the timing was right. You're all dug up in the front now, and maybe we can just do this. So on that same token.
Right, exactly. The timing does seem to coincide, but I really can't speak to that right now. But we'll be glad to take a look at that with the proper channels and the proper authority.
Perfect.
Well, yeah, you're more than welcome to stay on, or if you need to go, we appreciate your comments and suggestions, and we'll take that under consideration.
Well, thank you for having me, and that's pretty much all I have to say. And good luck, and enjoy the rest of your meeting, because it's a beautiful day. I'll take advantage of it.
Thank you. Okay, thanks, Brett. Okay, next on the agenda is the minutes to approve. And I saw that Mary did send over the March 17th minutes, but I didn't see the April 21st.
Those were included in with the agenda.
Oh, they were. Okay.
Yeah.
So what we'll do is, why don't I ask for a motion? Oh, go ahead.
Bob, Al Gordon has his hand up.
Oh, I'm sorry. Al, yes.
I just wanted to make everybody aware that we have somebody else that's attending the meeting Zoom.
Oh.
Jim Stewart. He's a member of the Municipal Building Committee, but he's also the facilities manager for the town of Westborough.
Oh,
so Jim is on with us today. I just want to make everybody aware of that.
Okay, Jim, welcome. Do you have anything to say at this point or in the public forum? We have a few minutes left, or you just want to listen in?
I'm going to listen into the meeting. Primarily, I'm here because as this project's moving along, nearing completion, in a few months. I believe that the building is going to be part of, and Kate, please correct me if I'm wrong, if we're going to, I'm going to be overseeing the building as far as maintenance goes, custodial staff and everything of that nature. So as I did in the Forbes building when that was under construction, well, I was a part of the building committee, but I spent a lot of time over there getting to know. It was a big project, and I've been to the library and seen Robert a few times over there. But I just want to keep my eyes on it now as we're getting closer to completion, and just be a part of the process, silent part of the process.
Well, great. Well, thank you for those comments, and we look forward to having you continue your work with the library once it's open and online. So that's terrific, and feel free to join any meeting, join this meeting anytime as an observer. We'd like to make sure that you're up to speed as well. Okay, thanks, Al, for introducing Jim. Next, again, to follow up on the minutes to approve, first I'm going to ask for a motion to approve the March 17th minutes. Do I have a motion to approve those?
So
I'll make a motion to
Oh,
approve the
okay.
March 17th.
Okay, Lynn, do I hear a second?
Leslie second.
Okay, any discussion?
Look good to me.
Okay, and all in favor?
No,
Do
I think we
to
have to do
go-
a
do I
roll
need-
Roll
call.
call.
Do I
Yeah.
need to do a roll call? Okay.
When you're remote,
Al?
you have to do roll call.
Gordon,
Okay, Al?
yes. Yes.
Okay, Kate,
Caraccio, yes.
Bill?
Lorraine, yes.
Okay, Sean?
Yes.
Okay, Walter?
Leslie, yes.
Okay, Lynn?
Sukup, yes.
Okay, I don't see anybody else from the library on here that are actually members of the committee. Okay, those March 17th are approved. Now for the April 21st, a motion to accept April.
I make a motion to approve the April 21st minutes.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
Second, okay, great. Any discussion? Okay, okay. So all in favor, I'm going to do a roll call again. First, let me see, Al?
Gordon, yes.
Okay, Kate?
Yeah, Caraccio, yes.
Okay, Bill?
Lorraine, yes.
Okay, Sean?
Yes.
Walter?
Leslie, yes.
And Lynn?
Sukup, yes.
Okay, and Petrosell is a yes. Okay, thanks. Now we're going to move on to the discussion of the repair project and looking at the project to date, looking ahead in progress with Brian and Steve Theron and with Mike Bonfatti. So let Steve on the line to take it away, or is Brian or Michael, you're going to walk through it?
Yeah, I can start off.
Okay.
Can everybody see the screen all right?
Yep.
I just want to make one comment on Brett's comments, and I was in and out I had some login issues on my end. One thing he said was that he spoke to the contractor and they said they would do something, and I just want to warn against that. That's really precisely what the OPM's role is, because like today, Brett may not know who spoke to whomever they spoke with, and so that's really why Bob is on site to have him in those conversations, just so that the communication is clear and we can run with that communication instead of whomever the person may have spoken with. So just to mention that, I don't remember the specifics of it as I was managing my IT challenge here for whatever reason that was. So I just want to mention that one thing as Mike gets this all teed up for us here. So.
Yes, Steve,
You're
sorry, Bob, can I add to that also? I did forward Brett's drawing to Maureen and I think the LPA team, just so that they had a heads up as our board chair. So I think that maybe the next step is to have Maureen share that out to the full LBC committee.
Okay. Yeah, I did hear that. Thank you, Kate. And I agree, Steve, when he said that. I think he was talking about the curb cut or something, and he meant he spoke to the contractor and they said he could do it. So I thought that was not proper. Okay, yes. Michael, are you ready?
Yes. We have quite a few changes to go through, so I'm going to start this time with the update on this current status of our contingency. So to date, we have 412,657 approved in changes, or roughly 43% of the contingency. Remaining is 542,235. And if everything that we are estimating right now is approved, then we would have 323,000 roughly remaining, or have used 66% of the contingency. Just want to get that start. So as we go through because we have quite a few changes to talk about.
Mhm.
And I'm going to turn it over to Mike Williams to give an update on the security proposal and CCDs and change order number 8 that was distributed.
Thank you, Mike. So as of the our last committee meeting, we regarding the security camera proposal from BCM Controls, we were asked to confirm if there are any monthly or annual operating costs to the library, in addition to what the proposed value was. And both the vendor and the fire department confirmed that there are no costs beyond the installation costs to the library. So that leaves just that remaining proposal cost for the library to make a decision on. And I feel like I'm trying to get there to bring it up.
Mike, is the 43% completion of additional change orders as part of the budget? Would this be more? This isn't included in the 43% because we haven't voted on it, right?
This is not currently included, no.
Okay.
Okay.
I would
So-
like to, should we
Go.
make a motion?
Oh, okay. So do you want to make a motion to accept the proposed update now and have a second, and then we'll just have it open for discussion and then approve it? Or
I would like to make a motion that we approve the BCM security proposal as described, as we discussed at the last meeting.
Okay. Do I have a second? I see Bill's thumb up, but with Bill, would you like to make a second on that?
You're muted, Bill.
Yeah, second and a comment when you're ready.
Okay. Thank you. We have a motion and to approve, we have a second. Now let's have a discussion on it, please.
Yeah, I just want to be sure, Lynn, you're talking about the scope as it was presented with no changes.
That is correct.
Thank you.
Is there any?
I guess I have I have a question because does this material considered? You were talking about contingency, but this isn't really a construction cost. It's more of a fitting or FF&E cost. So, is there a separate contingency for that?
There is not. So the way that we had thought about proceeding with this is more or less doing a transfer of funds from the contingency to the security line item or the technology line item, because this was not originally included in the scope for the project, but it was brought up through public safety. So that's it just kind of be moving from one to the other but still within the project budget funds.
Okay, but I mean, there's a slope to that because if we have extra money in construction, we're not necessarily supposed to spend it on bookcases and other things. So, I think that's worth a little bit of discussion because we have to be assured we have enough contingency to finish the construction portion.
Okay.
Would you consider, I mean, isn't this apples and oranges? I mean, this really isn't part of FF&E. It's technology and security. It's a different part of the construction of the building. So I think in our informal discussions during our meetings, it was looked at that we didn't really want to take it out of FF&E because then you would have less in that piece that they needed when we can certainly take it out of the construction portion, because at this point with 90 days left, I think we're maybe okay with whatever this adds. 43% might go to 48%. I don't know. We'd have to talk about it, but I think the thought was that for the 109,000, I mean, it's safety related, it's security related, and it's a critical part for the safety of the staff.
And as far as funding sources, so there's the construction contingency we talked about. The other spot that we discussed was from reallocating some of the funds from the temp facility enabling costs to fund this. So it'd be again a similar operation where you transfer the invoice costs from temp facilities to then the computers and technology. So then that can be billed against the security invoices.
Yeah, following Mike's comment. So if you look at that temp facility line, the enabling that 337,500 line item, and then if you go to the far right, the available, which is monies not committed or spent, it turns out all of the committed monies, that 26,646 has been fully spent. So that was early on items, and those have all been invoiced and processed. So sitting there uncommitted is that 311,740. We have moving in another line item, and there's 126,000, just up a couple from there or a few from there available. So we have moving monies available to achieve the move. So that temp facilities monies is a section that we can consider either transferring to contingency or to a different line item, whatever at the direction of the committee, how you may want to manage some of those line items that have remaining funds available.
So we have absolutely zero in our thoughts and plans for putting in any camera in the building. There's no dollars at all, or is that the $25,000 in the computers and technology?
Yeah, I would say beyond the construction documents and any of the cameras and such included in that, we didn't have a separate line item for that. Mike, if Mike Williams, if you want to speak to that, certainly you can add to that if there's any more detail you can provide.
No, you're right, Steve. What we included was the infrastructure for cameras and card readers in the contract work. But typically this is a technology line item outside of the general contractor's scope of work and budget. Yeah, if we're concerned with that computers and technology line item, that's typically where we would see it billed from. So I think as Mike Bonfatti had recommended, making a budget adjustment from one line item to fund this would be appropriate.
Walter, does that help answer some questions, or are you more concerned as opposed to moving the accounts or is it more concerned with the actual need for the cameras?
I was just trying to understand how we failed to think that we would need any thing in this. I mean, it's why we hire architects and people to tell us what should be in. So I'm just trying to learn from the experience.
Got it.
I think, either transfer idea can work. So I don't know which makes the most sense. I don't even know what the process is to transfer funds within this, because it's overall the budget was created to sort of create the total number, not
I think that's
so
part of kind of how this got, because at least from my recollection, when we were budgeting, it was kind of that larger number, rolling down to the 940, and it was kind of to be determined on where they get allocated to. And then same with like the temp facilities cost, we didn't know if we were going to need all of it or most of it. And how it kind of work is that it's similar to when we do change orders, but slightly different, where we submit or we approve a budget transfer, and then what would happen is you'd see it in this column here. So like let's say if we did temp facilities, it would be that 118,000 or 9,000, whatever the invoice was. It would be represented here as a negative, and then a positive in the computers and technology, similar to as there's a negative 412 for the contingency, and then a positive in the base construction cost.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think the temp facility gives you a clearer way to see the number for, you could remember that that's what it was for. If it goes in the construction contingency, it just disappears in the bigger number.
It would still be tracked in the contract breakdown of the vendor invoice package. We would see, at least in that, for that line item, a transfer in of that value from the contingency.
Or from anywhere.
It's right,
Yeah.
or from wherever it comes from, there'd be a record of where it came from and where it went. So it's up to the committee's discretion of where they would like the funds to come from, but those are the most eligible sources as I saw them, or as we saw them.
Okay, thanks, Mike. Walter, is anything else?
No, I'm all set.
Okay.
Bob, I can't get my hand raised. Walter's correct. We did have a good discussion during the weekly meetings about it was an error that it was missed. And based on what we had in the initial building. But we felt, based on discussion with Kate and Lynn and others, that it was necessary to install it. And we left it up to Vertex to decide the best place, and that's what you're seeing right now, where it should be moved to. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Well put, Bill. Thank you. Okay, well, at this point, we have a motion on the table and a second. So what we'll do is we'll go through and do a roll call to accept the $109,000 out of contingency fund. Let's have, can you go back to the screen with everyone? I believe I'll go back to my memory is we have Kate. Here we go. Walt, Al first, Al.
Gordon, yes.
Okay, Kate.
Caraccio, yes.
Bill.
Lenine, yes.
Okay, Sean.
EO, yes.
Okay, Walter.
Leslie, yes.
Okay, Lynn.
Sukup, yes.
And Petrosel is a yes. Okay, well, that motion is carried and we've got a security package. Thank you very much. Moving down, Michael, did you want to go through the rest of that, your presentation, or I'm trying to think, is that still part of the look ahead and project schedule piece?
Yes, and there's a couple more items, and so
Sure.
I just want to so we're transferring funds from the contingency to computers and technology. Is that correct? Okay,
that's correct.
Great. And then back to Mike Williams. Do you want to provide an update on the CCDs and then the change order?
Mike, you might be on mute.
Thank you, Bob. Correct. We have two open CCDs that are actively being worked on. One is lead paint removal. If you recall, in the previous meeting, we described that there is a gap in our drawings and specs on the ownership of the removal of any lead containing paint in the project. We did carry the scope in the work. It was just an inconsistency on who was responsible to perform the work. So we've put it on the general contractor. And we've given them a CCD to perform that work. And they have completed the inside of the building in preparation for the painter, and they are ready to go to the outside of the building. We just heard Friday afternoon in an email that they are seeking an additional $15,000 to add to the I think it's 30 that we've approved to date. We haven't really had the opportunity to vet that request yet, but we do see that they are up against the previously approved value. So there will be a need to extend it. We haven't evaluated enough to agree whether or not it's 15 or something less. I think the prudent thing to do to keep the contractors moving would be to extend the CCD an additional 15,000, bringing the total not to exceed value to 45,000 for this work. And just also as a reminder, both Bob Tucker and the superintendent are verifying slips from the contractors on a daily basis for the manpower being performed and any materials being used. So we have that level of confirmation that they're accurately tracking time and material costs for this. So really the only question is whether or not they're going to use the entire additional 15,000 or not. So
let me just
again,
add to that, if I could, Mike, to your good explanation. So this is kind of similar to what we had before with the pipe installation. What Mike has outlined is that we have information from the contractor that says they're up against that first CCD number, but we're not asking for approval of anything yet because we need time to verify that. So to support what the request is here is we want to make sure we aren't providing any hindrance to the contractor to get this work done. They've indicated it's up against it. So instead of having an argument about whether it is or it isn't, if we authorize a little bit more with the CCD, they'll continue with the work, and then there won't be any excuse from them for continuing with the work. And as the paperwork, as Mike described, that Bob and Ivan on site are tracking, we'll bring that package when it's ready to you with all slips and everything checked and ready for presentation. So this is a smart thing to do, to just bump this up a little bit, and then we'll go back and verify exactly what the costs are. And as we saw previously, the numbers were, kind of hard to predict. And fortunately, even though it was expensive, it was far under their estimates. So we don't know how this is going to play out, but they've made this request. So I suggest we support that and then circle back to check all the real numbers as they come in and get ready for presentation to you guys.
So do we need a motion
To support the increase amount on the CCD?
to increase
yes.
the not to exceed from 30,000 to 45,000 for
Exactly.
lead paint removal?
Yes.
All right. I would like to make that motion to increase our not to exceed from 30 to 45,000 for lead paint removal.
Thank you, Len. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Bill, thank you. Okay, let's go through a roll call on this then. Can you just share the screen? So as my memory, Al?
Gordon, yes.
Okay. Lynn?
Sukup, yes.
Okay. Bill?
Lenine, yes.
Okay. Sean?
EO, yes.
Walter?
Leslie, yes.
Lynn?
Sukup, yes.
And
Kate.
Petroselli is a yes.
Missing
Okay.
Kate. Miss Kate.
Caraccio.
I'm sorry, what?
Sorry, Bob, you missed me. You did Lynn twice, so I'm just putting my vote in as
I'm
an
sorry.
affirmative.
Sorry. Yeah, okay. I'm sorry.
We got you, Bob. We got you.
Wait, being chair is tough. Tough crowd here. Okay. Okay, Michael, you're going down with the rest of your presentation.
Yep. And then continue with Mike Williams, CCD number 10.
Sure. So CCD number 10 is to allow, it's for some plaster cutting and patching to allow electrical work to be performed and wiring conduit to be installed. This takes place in that historical stair as soon as you walk in from West Main Street. And you may have noticed a little bit of the work happened already, but it's really enabling work. The electrician identified routing that they need to take the wire and conduit from other parts of the library through that entry stair and out to exterior lights, the signboards, and a few other things that need to happen in that vestibule as soon as you walk in. And this is it's an unforeseen condition in that the electrical contractor did some investigations on how to get through that stairwell. And as you can imagine, that stairwell with the switchbacks transitioning from floor to floor, the landings don't line up with anything. And we have the toilet rooms directly below for the staff. There really isn't a good direct route to run into that stair. So by doing this work, it allows us to conceal as much of that conduit and wiring as possible, and then patch it back up and cleanly finish that historical stair. So the contractor has provided an order of magnitude value of $10,000 to perform this cutting and patching of the plaster. So we're requesting your acceptance of that $10,000.
Okay, that's a motion to increase it by 10. Is there a second?
I'll make a motion from the board, from the committee to accept the CCD number 10. It's been well discussed at the weekly meeting.
Okay, great. Thank you, Bill. Okay. We'll
Bob?
go to the roll. Yes.
Can part of that motion be not to exceed $10,000?
How does people feel about that? Not to exceed Al's amendment to the motion? So we have a motion not to exceed 10,000.
We'll look for Mike.
Bill, is that okay?
Mike Williams.
Mike?
Actually, good question. In fact, that's exactly how the CCD is written, not to exceed $10,000.
Okay. So we'll have that amended motion not to exceed $10,000. So we'll go through a roll call. Al?
Gordon, yes.
Kate?
Crotcher, yes. I don't think we have a second on that though.
Oh, okay. I'll second that.
Perfect. So then
Okay.
Crotcher, yeah.
All right. Bill?
Name, yes.
Okay. Peter?
I'll abstain. I didn't hear the discussion.
Okay, great. Sean?
Keo, yes.
Okay. Walter?
Leslie, yes.
Lynn?
Sukup, yes.
And Petroselli's a yes. Okay. Motion passed. Okay. Yes. Michael?
And lastly, for this major changes, is change order number 8.
Change order number 8. You know what? Oh, great. Thank you, Mike, for bringing that up. Some of these we've reviewed in previous meetings, but I'm just gonna, since there's a number of them, I'm just gonna quickly run through them, and maybe at the end, if there's any questions on any one of them, we'll go through at that point. So first one, PCO 12R1 HVAC changes to the main level. This adds some supply air, some fresh air to the new small meeting room. The HVAC engineer identified that air for that room was not shown on the drawings. So this work adds that fresh air to that new meeting room on the main level. Next one, PCO number 14, adult reading room north wall changes. So this is as soon as you walk into the library, that historical space on the right, the adult reading area, there is a number of HVAC, sprinkler piping running vertically through that room up against that north wall. So this encloses all of that piping in behind a new chase. So it'll be a clean drywall finish. And it also creates a little nook for the things display and some shelving for new books. PCO number 17R1, lower level toilet room plumbing. This is required to adjust some existing supports for sinks. The drawings called to reuse existing supports. After the plumber removed those sinks, he realized that those supports needed to be adjusted because they weren't suitable for the new sinks to be in place. Still using the existing supports, they just need to be adjusted. So there was some masonry work to allow that to happen. That's what the scope of work does, adjusts masonry and those the sink supports. PCO 18R1, this is the bike rack credit. This is for removing the bike racks that the town's providing as a grant. The contractor will still install those bike racks. So this is a material change only. PCO number 28R1, the stair lobby drinking fountain. So this is for the upper level drinking fountain just opposite the elevator. This builds out a little chase so that the drinking fountain can be installed and allow plumbing to be adapted to that new drinking fountain. The existing plumbing was a little high and it was and the masonry opening just wouldn't allow for that coordination work to happen. So this allows for the that little bit of masonry work and the plumbing work to happen. PCO number 29R1, upper elevator lobby ceiling. So this is the at the very top stop adjacent to the staff workroom. The ceiling in there was a plaster ceiling. We needed to remove it because the electrician identified that they weren't able to run wiring, and the sprinkler also had an issue in there as well. So this is removal of that ceiling. Instead of going back with plaster or drywall, it is going back with a drop ceiling. So it changes that ceiling to a more accessible suspended ceiling system. PCO number 34, the meeting room 114 camera. This was as a result of a walkthrough with Kate and the fire department and the security camera vendor that it would be best to provide a security camera inside of the meeting room. So that's what this does. This provides a camera drop for that new camera. The proposal that we just approved with BCM for all the cameras already includes a camera for this room. PCO number 37R2, revised door hardware, doors and hardware for openings 106 and 107. This is a result of reviewing the spaces with Kate and Lynn and determined that that there was a workroom / office that was just a cased opening. To make better use of the space, they requested that a door be put on it, an office door be put on it, and then also at the adjacent librarian's office to change that door to a type with a window in it. So that's what this does. Changes those door types, a frame type, and some door hardware. PCO number 38, fire alarm changes due to sprinkler. This is the electrical drawings for the fire alarm system had not shown all of the fire alarm connections. There are devices that indicate when a valve is opened for whatever reason in the sprinkler system. So this adds the fire alarm devices to monitor all those valves in this sprinkler system. PCO number 40, acoustical panels. For forgive me, I'm drawing a blank on this one as I'm flying through these, but if I recall, we're changing fabric type on some of these panels from we had a very um, um, sort of entry level fabric on our panels. And during the finishes review that Christina had done with the staff, they wanted a more colorful palette. So this upgrades the fabric on those panels to a again a more colorful type of fabric. PCO 41R1 add infill at the mud slab. So there was a you walk into the Parkman Street entrance. That floor was a tile floor, which sat on what we call a mud bed, which is a recessed slab full of a grout, and then they lay the tile on it. So the new finish is a carpet tile. So we have to fill in that old slab recess with a cementitious leveler. The drawing showed one area clearly to be filled. This is a smaller area adjacent to it that also needs to be filled. So this scope of work includes that smaller area that was not identified on the drawings. PCO number 42, electrical changes in the elevator. The electrician asked some questions about some a disconnect, a connection with a motorized damper that we have at the top of the elevator, a phone line that's required in the elevator as well, plus a couple of other things. So this adds all the electrical systems that are required for the elevator to meet all the state requirements. PCO 43 revised circulation ramp. So this reduces the amount of handrail that we had at the this is the ramp between that the entry into the historical library and the circulation space. Is a small ramp there. The drawings called for stainless steel handrails to come up the ramp and wrap and end at the adjacent wall. This shortens those handrails to just be at the ramp only. We do not need it to extend all the way to the wall. So this cleans up those rails and reduces it a little bit. PCO number 45, revised rail bracket to add plinth. So this is at the historical stair. And what this does is that the handrail fabricator identified a conflict with how the new bronze handrail would attach to the wall and the wood trim, all that the wood wainscoting and throughout that stair. And there was a conflict. So this adds some blocking to match that oak wood that's in there. And with some nice detail work and carefully cut into the wood trim that exists to match all of that beautiful wood trim that's in there now and the wood wainscoting. So that's what this work does. It adds that wood blocking. And the last one, PCO number 46, the millwork revisions. Some cabinets that we had shown for storage of things over in the adult reading area in the 1980 section of the building were not necessary any longer. So this removes that cabinetry. And yeah, and then that all totals up to an additional value of 45,189.07 to the contract.
Okay. Thanks, Mike. Is there any questions for Mike on this?
Al Goodness.
Yep.
Okay, I don't have the picture up.
Okay. Yeah, I've got a question just on PCO 40.
Got it.
What's up there now that needs to be changed?
It's actually not a replacement of what's in place now for number 40. These are for new acoustic panels. So this just changed they're all new fabric wrapped panels with a colorful fabric to them. So this changes from a more, like I said, entry-level color palette with more muted tones to something that's more vibrant. And if I recall Christina's term for it, jewel-toned fabric for these acoustic panels.
Okay. So, just a quick question too, as I was doing some math in my head. So we're going to be voting on this a $45,000 package for this change order. We approved already the 109 for the security change today, the 15,000 extra for the lead paint, and then we have the not to exceed 10, and now we have the 45. So, I was just doing some math. So this is like an additional $179,000 that we're approving today. So I'm assuming this brings it up from 43% to about something like 50%, I guess, of the contingency. So my question is, in a normal like municipal project, I'm asking Vertex, in your opinion, is this on target with other types of municipal projects like this to have half the contingency gone with there's 100 days left in the project?
So that's a great question. And part of this presentation, we want to mention that lots of these items have been in the works for a long time, and we've been pushing the contractor to gather up information. And if they provide information on a PCO, would send it back. You can see several of them have revisions to them, and even one has a couple of revisions to it. So that's part of setting up the answer that I have, which is typically as you start up and you start building things, that's when you start to find things. And as we've seen, particularly the electrical things that, whether there's a good reason or there isn't a good reason, some of these things weren't on the documents. So most of those things have been found. The process or the current status of the project has things mostly found, and 50%, I would say, is no one wants to spend any money of the contingency, but at 50%, you wouldn't say that we're in a great position of risk. If we were at like 80%, that'd be a different thing. And as we know, there are some other line items that we don't expect to need based on the status of this contingency, that we do have some other buckets we don't expect to spend down. So to that, I mean, this is a conversation we should have at every meeting just to understand where we are and how things look going forward. And as you saw, Mike has this all carefully tracked based on all the knowns that are out there, but not yet ready to present, and what some of the estimates are for those things. So, I would say at this stage, the challenge here is going to be really to get things wrapped up schedule wise, but the cost wise, that is not I think schedule is more of a concern than cost at this point, based on where the budget and costs sit at this moment.
Okay, thank you.
Just to clarify that the only value there that wasn't currently being tracked against the contingency was the security proposal.
Yeah, that's a great comment, Mike. That's right. These
So
have been
all
on
the
there shown,
all
right?
the other ones were in there.
Okay.
So if I do the quick math of that with everything we have today, if everything is estimated, is approved, we would be at 79% of the contingency used, including the security proposal being taken out.
So we are pretty close to 80%. So should we be concerned?
Well, we have those other buckets that we don't expect to spend, but we control all the other things going forward. That's for sure.
Okay. Okay, thank you. So at this point, I guess a motion is in order for this change order 8 approval for 45,000. So let's go through the names. Al?
Have we had a motion and second on that?
Oh, all right. I guess I thought we had one already. All right. A motion, please, to approve change order number 8 for 45,000.
Motion
I'll make.
to approve. Motion to approve change order number 8.
Second. Second, Lynn, thank you. Okay, we'll go through the roll call. Al?
Gordon, yes.
Okay, Kate?
Caraccio, yes.
Okay, Bill?
Lenane, yes.
Oh, Walter?
Leslie, yes.
Okay, Lynn?
Sukup, yes.
Sean
EO, yes.
and Peter?
Don Beck, yes.
Okay, and Petroselli's a yes. Okay, that clears that. Thank you all. Okay, next, Michael.
All right. So I'll try to go quickly through our financial update. So this is included, this is our budget status report from our April vendor invoice package. So for the OPM contract, we're at $716,000 spent to date, or 77% of the contract. For the architect, we are at $1,370,000 spent today, or roughly 90% of the contract. And then for construction, we are at $4,669,415, or 54% of the contract. So that all totals out for spent to date is $6,949,826 spent to date, and remaining to spend is $4,375,075.
Okay.
Question?
Yep.
Bill, yes.
Based on the percent complete we are on the project, is the architect's monies in line, Steve?
Yeah, they have a drawdown schedule that they provide at the beginning of the project, and for during this period, which is a construction administration period, they have that same amount identified as their monthly extended out through completion, and we can get that out and highlight that with that what they have planned for the rest of the project to be able to provide a complete answer to your question.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. We don't need any motion on that. There's just an update.
No. Yep.
Okay. Now I see on the agenda, we've already touched on the security systems, but we'd like to talk about what's happening with the roofer at this point.
Sure, I can provide a bit of an update there. So, as the committee probably is aware, the Seaver has had challenges getting the roofer to cooperate. Roofer is a file sub-bidder, and they have not really shown up on their schedule and not been, well, simple as that. They haven't shown up as scheduled to perform the work. They have been on site. They have done some work, but not nearly enough to keep up with the schedule requirements. So Seaver has gone through a whole series of careful steps to put Young Developers is the name of the roofing company. So to put Young Developers on contractual notice. And the step that we had today was to have a meeting on site where Young Developers were asked to attend this meeting to respond to the most recent notice, which allows Young Developers 1 week remaining, after which, unless they comply and do the following things, which is to provide manpower and to provide their payment performance bond, and materials and other things, as all laid out by Seaver in their letter to Young Developers, unless they provide that by next Tuesday morning, that Seaver will be in a position to replace them on the project. And replacing them, isn't a magic solution because there are always issues replacing a contractor. Seaver's been patient, maybe too patient with them to replace them. And so they have now brought this forward enough so that they can terminate if they can't reach a resolution between now and first of next week. So they are getting pricing from other contractors, roofing contractors, to perform the work, and they're well into that process to try to at least understand how to respond. Now we have a payment, we as the town have a payment performance bond from Seaver, and so the project is fully covered with the general contractor. So there isn't any exposure specifically by the town or on the town for this action for this subcontractor not performing. It's Seaver's responsibility to manage and replace and to cover any shortfall that may result with this replacement. So that's all Seaver's responsibility. So that's exactly where that process is right now. And we'll provide any updates as that continues. We all hoped, and maybe it's past tense, that that young developers would respond and perform. They had some billing that we pushed back, but we said, look, if you can get the material on site, we're going to include it on the current rec. And, so we're trying to help them because it is a good thing if a contractor does kind of pull himself out of a challenge and succeed. Even if you have to drag them there, that's better often than basically firing them and replacing them in terms of cost. So we're doing what we could to assist, certainly not putting anything at risk. And that's where this stands as of this afternoon, about 12:30 this afternoon. So, and any questions on that?
I see Walter has his hand up.
Oh, Walter, yes.
Yeah, I mean, clearly, having not gone with the natural slate gives us a lot more options. Probably, I remember on other contractors for the synthetic stuff, so that I think works in our favor. But the one question I had related to the roof is I don't know if these are the guys or someone else that did the tear off the roof thing, tore off some of the wrong roof.
Yep.
Where are we at with, and what are we going to do with that? Is that I don't know what are we going to put this synthetic stuff there or what's going on?
Mike Williams, can you answer that?
Yes. So it will have to be with whichever roofer that Seaver decides to go with. But as for what they'll use, the elevator shaft roof, that will be the synthetic roof. There's I think it's a fine application for that product. The other section of roof that really wraps around the 1980 edition, that needs to be replaced in kind with the same type of clay tile that's in place now. So we've instructed the contractor that they need to provide samples to us, physical samples to us, to verify that the products will match. But I think to your point, Walter, this will have to be with whatever contractor moves forward on the project and under Seaver's watch.
But is this contractor that you're having issues with the one that also did the remove?
Yes.
Yes.
So if they walk away, they don't pay for the fixing.
It's
Well,
still Seaver's responsibility.
Yeah, it seems so. That's a great point, Walter. So as far as the town is concerned, this is all Seaver's responsibility. As far as Seaver's concerned, they're likely going to correct the work, finish the project, and then pursue young developers for whatever the difference might be, and that's all their issue. How they will do it is completely up to them in terms of pursuing them. But that's likely how what that path will look like.
Thanks.
All right, Al?
Yeah, did young developers show up today for your meeting?
They did. They were a little bit late, but the project manager, whom we've met a handful of times, did attend the meeting. As everyone who was there heard, it was unfortunate because if the ownership of the company had shown up and they provided some answers and commitments, that'd be one thing, But the fellow who was there, as I said, whom we've met several times, he doesn't pull those strings. He doesn't make those decisions. He can only refer to the what he's trying to get accomplished. So while it was good he attended, he didn't really bring a whole lot because he wasn't really able to make commitments that were needed.
Right. Because of this delay, basically, is this delaying anything else from being done, the further work?
So that's a great question. And Mike, do we have schedule, Mike Bonfatti, do we have a schedule slide on this?
Not outside of just the general
Okay.
update on the substantial completion.
Okay, so maybe I'll just go right to that. So what we're doing right now with the schedule, and this will get to your good question, Al. Seaver has submitted the most recent schedule, and the review that the design and OPM team conducted last Tuesday after our regular meeting resulted in the LPA issuing a rejection of that schedule. And what that schedule showed was a completion with substantial completion achieved on September 23rd. Every schedule prior, except for last month, had September 1st. And so what the contract documents say to do, and Mike laid out a very detailed explanation of it, is the Seaver is to provide a recovery schedule to achieve that September 1st date. So I don't know how close they're going to get to that or not. And we sent this requirement in response, or Michael did last night, and so they didn't really have a great answer on it. I did go over this issue with their fellow Kyle Dupel, who's now a COO of the company. So I went over all this with him late last week after we discussed it Tuesday afternoon. So they're aware of the concerns. We just stepped it up a level with rejection of their schedule and requesting this recovery schedule to achieve that September 1st substantial completion. Now, substantial completion means that certificate of occupancy is in hand and the project is, in the word of substantial, substantially complete, and it is ready for delivered, ready for its intended use. So what accompanies that document, which is the certificate of substantial completion, is a punch list, which means there's this one piece over here and that ceiling tile has to be replaced, and that's a thorough walkthrough of the building and issued by the design team that identifies all the bits and pieces and little scratches and those kinds of things that are a punch list. And it provides an amount of time, and I think it's 30 days to complete that punch list. So that's what we are looking for to be provided with a completion date of September 1st. And we've got 90 days. We've got 3 months now that it's, well, a little more than that now that it's a little more than mid-May to achieve that. And that's the biggest concern because of the status of the project. It seems close enough to make it there, but we're concerned enough to kind of give them a boot in the ass here to tell them to get going. And we're concerned because we're not seeing the excitement on the job to finish that we'd like to see, so we can be really secure that it's going to happen on time. So not seeing that and getting a schedule that shows that they are looking to deliver that on September 23rd is what prompted the action that Mike Williams issued last night.
Thanks, Steve. Any other questions on the schedule? I just had a quick question with respect to Seavers. It's their responsibility now to select a new roofer. So given the budget for, or the filed subbidder with what the hell's her name? The roofing company from Hamden, Connecticut. Given what they bid, I'm trying to think, are they putting it out that this is the price you must accept, or are they going to open up to bids? Could it jack up higher with the new?
Yeah.
Because they know that
there's a
they've
gap.
got us by the.
Yeah, I know there's a gap, and they're talking with a couple of different roofing companies, very good roofing companies. We talked a little bit about that today. That gap is solely Seaver's responsibility. The same fellow Kyle mentioned to me last week that he might ask nicely if the committee would consider helping him with that gap. So I said, well, whatever you ask, we'll present. That doesn't mean we'll recommend accepting anything, but
Yeah.
It is solely their responsibility. I share that Mike gets a kick out of that. I didn't share that with anyone yet. So we'll see what may come of that, but it's solely Steve's responsibility, and they're trying to manage that the best they could. And as I described earlier, they likely would pursue young developers for whatever the difference is, because they have a contract and responsibility to complete it for their delivered price. And if they fail, as it looks like they're going to. And we've had, and as you may know, we've had requests from equipment suppliers for invoices that haven't been paid and checks that have bounced, and all the kind of stuff that happens when firms are struggling a bit. So all those things are happening. And so Seaver is taking these steps, and we'll see how next week goes.
Yeah, it's tough because Seaver is in a tough position because it's not like they use their own sub. It's a filed sub bid system. So there's 18 categories of subcontractors in certain trades that the general must take the low bid. So we're assuming that DCAM did their due diligence and making sure they were pre-qualified appropriately. But at this point, they had to go with this low bid, and this filed subbidder here, in this case, the roofer, like fell down, so they're stuck with them. Unfortunately,
Well,
the way the system works.
right, and as you said, we'll have a recommendation for a DCAM rating on this roofer, and it's not, it's going to be awful,
Harold,
for this roofer, and they may be disbarred from bidding on Massachusetts projects. It's really, really serious. This isn't the private sector where the roofer just isn't going to call us anymore. This is a really serious thing. And that's why I'd hoped that they were going to, come out from this somehow, and they may still, but we'll see.
Right, and I'm sure other towns will ask. According to the final thing, they get the lowest rating, and plus they're kicked off the project. That's not good.
And they have to
thank you.
write all those things into their application. Where have you ever been kicked off a project? And the answer is yes. Yep.
Okay. Thank you. All right. Is there anything else now on the agenda? We've covered most of it. Is there anything else brought by folks here that would like to bring up?
The approval of the invoices.
I'm sorry.
Invoices.
The invoice package. Okay. But Walter, you have your hand up. Would you like to speak now, or do you want to wait till the invoice package on the agenda?
We can do the invoice first.
Okay. All right. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I skipped over that.
Yeah, just quickly, the invoices we received for April total $564,874.50. It's Vertex's, LPA's, and Seaver's invoices. Looking for approval.
I'll make a motion that we accept the vendor information packet for April 30th, 2026, totaling $564,874.50.
50 cents. Thank you, Lynn. We hear second.
Second.
Okay, Bill, thank you. Okay, let's go through the roll call. I have my list here. Is it Al?
Gordon, yes.
Okay, Kate?
Caraccio, yes.
Bill?
Lenine, yes.
Okay, Walter?
Leslie, yes.
Lynn?
Pickup, yes.
Sean?
Yes.
Okay, and Peter? Peter, I'm not sure if are you muted? Okay, and Bob? Yes. So, okay.
Thank you.
We're all set. That's approved. Thank you for the invoice. Okay, we've gone through the construction progress update. Started, you've got that. Okay, did you have anything on that, Mike?
Bob, is there anything you want to share about
Sure, be
construction
glad to. Lovely front of the building. This was taken with the lead abatement people up, cleaning up and cleaning off all the loose and flaking lead-based paint. That was on the front of the building. They've completed the front of the building, and they're working around on the sides now. But it does take a little bit of time. The front did have some particularly tough sections that took a little extra time on, but they are making good progress.
Okay.
And another one there, Mike.
Yep.
The boiler room. These are two of the new tanks and some of the valves and whatnot that have been brought down in and staged in their, well, at least twice the tanks are staged in their final location. From that, the mechanics have been spending a lot of time in laying out just where the piping is going to run, the new piping to connect these tanks to the existing system. And they've been installing the support system for that, along with hangers. And next, they'll be starting to install pipe to interconnect all this equipment. This is one of the new bathrooms on the main level with the tile work on the walls. Most recently today, they're about, I'm going to say, a good 2/3 of the way done with the floor tile. They've hopefully that's going to be wrapping up by the end of this week. So we'll have not only all the walls tiled and grouted, but also all the floor installed as well for that area.
That's it.
Great. But before
Thank
that,
you.
I think Walter, we'll come back to you because you had your hand up.
Yeah, thanks. I won't be able to make the next meeting, I believe. So I wanted to bring up, we had talked last month about tree removal. And I spent a little time looking at it, and I just wanted to throw my 2 cents in, which is I don't think we should take out all 3 trees. I think we should leave at least one older tree. One, because taller trees are hard to get. And we're going to throw two little things in now, or three. And two, having the trees at different ages makes more sense. Otherwise, 30 years from now, you have the same problem again. So I would urge the committee to think about not just taking out all 3 trees, but pick the best one and leave that, and maybe replace the other 2.
Okay, thank you for your insight on that. I know we've had discussions, and I know that the tree wardens have been by, and the DPW's director's been by, and we discussed it earlier today at the 1 o'clock meeting. So, does anyone else want to talk about the trees, or save that for the next meeting? Kate?
Yeah, Kate knows a lot about this. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm happy to give a quick 3-minute rundown. So we have kind of an initial look at the trees based on the tree warden, DPW, and some older reports based on the condition of the trees that was assessed a year ago, pre-construction. We have one tree that is in poor condition. Basically, all 3 of the front trees are in fair to poor condition. And a couple things to think about in terms of that is you can go back and look at how many limbs have had to be lopped off each one, which might be helpful because the number is different for each one of those 3 trees. But what they recommended was if we wanted to try to save any one of those trees, we would need to put significant work. We would have to do an assessment. The assessment was quoted at about $3,000 just for the assessment on those trees. And then secondarily, following that assessment, we would have to do proper care on each one of those trees based on what the assessment tells us. So we don't have a good view of what that would be or what that would cost. We're just unsure yet. And so I think that the other thing, there's 2 other things. One is it is a board of trustee decision whether or not to take those trees down. So whether we keep them or not, board of trustees. And then if we fund it and where it comes funded out of is a library building committee decision. So those are kind of the 2 pieces that we were unsure of when we talked about it in our last board of trustee meeting. So those are things that were made clear. And then in addition, those are not trees that would require a tree hearing to remove should we make that decision. So those were kind of the biggest 3 things that came of the tree warden's assessment. Also, if we wait and they do the assessment after construction, they're also concerned because there was root rot in some of the roots, also root compression, and those things often get worse as machinery runs over those roots. And so there's a good chance that they're in worse condition post-construction, but this is based on a in-depth tree survey they did pre-construction.
Thank you, Kate. And I know that wasn't some of the looking ahead. Somebody mentioned that the Forbes building had taken down some of those rotted trees and added the new ones, and they've come in quite nicely and filling in the space nicely. And there was also programming that space that was looked at for the outside, and this would give more access to outdoor programming space. So I guess it's up to the trustees of the library to discuss this in depth. But
It will be, but it's up to us whether we want to vote to fund it if you're saying it's a building thing. But that's okay.
Yeah.
I said my piece. I think
All
that's a pretty strange thing that they don't do maintenance on trees, and then you ask them about it, and then they say you need a study, and then you have to do all this maintenance. But they should be doing maintenance all the time.
Okay, thank you.
I
Is
mean,
there
why
any?
do we have a DPW tree department for that purpose? I think so.
Yeah. Okay. Any other discussion for today's meeting?
Bob, just one last comment regarding the schedule. The weekly team was loud and clear, Ming and myself with Steve today, on the next issue of the schedule, that we really review it and detail it before it's issued, so that it comes in on the approved date. I'll leave it at that. I know you'll do it, but we accepted something from them the last time that really wasn't a good review. So I'll leave it at that. I know you'll do it.
Okay. Thank you, Bill. Okay, with that, if there's no other business, I'm going to ask for a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Okay, a second.
Do we need to call for the next meeting date?
Oh, I thought, all right, the
Mention it,
next meeting date is
6/16.
Tuesday, June 16th.
Okay.
That was on one of the slides, I thought, but yeah, next meeting date is Tuesday, June 16th, 2026 at 3:30.
Thank you.
Okay, so we have a motion to adjourn. Is there a second?
Al, Gordon, second.
Okay, great, Al. Thank you. Okay, let's see, Al, to approve, motion to approve. I mean, excuse me,
Gordon.
vote to approve. Gordon?
Gordon, yes.
Okay, Kate?
Karachu, yes.
Bill?
Lenane, yes.
Okay, Peter? You're on mute. But he's driving, so even without him, we have a quorum. Okay,
Yeah.
thumbs up.
Thumbs
There he
up.
is. Sean?
Yes.
Walter?
Leslie, yes.
Lynn?
Tukup, yes.
And Petroselli is a yes. Okay, thank you, everybody. And we'll see you next month on the 16th. And take care and have a good Memorial Day.